In the near future, I will do a deep dive series on the values of an Übermensch. And as I said, so I do. Welcome to the first episode of the Values of Übermensch series, where we take a deep dive into what actually constitutes a true Übermensch and how we achieve our ultimate potential. Today, we begin with the most overlapping values of all. It's something we all want, but very few of us have. Independence is the main building block of Nietzsche's philosophy. It's the topic that runs through all of his books, whether in explicit form or in between the lines. Should we compare Nietzsche's philosophy to the Milky Way, independence is like a sun around which other values revolve. It's also the topic that attracts the most people to Nietzsche's philosophy. If Nietzsche's quotes and ideas appeal to you, chances are you think rather differently than most people around you, and also that you value your own freedom above anything else. As already pointed out, the independence theme is to a certain degree present in all of Nietzsche's books. In the work Thus Spoke Zarathustra, independence is one of the core values that the named prophet is striving to teach. Over time, Zarathustra develops an increasingly growing group of followers who admire him and ask him to share more of his wisdom on various aspects regarding Übermensch transformation. However, to show his young followers what true independence is really about, he teaches them to question everything and everyone, including Zarathustra's own shared wisdom. So for example, if you have a mentor who requires you to take everything he or she says for granted, beware of it. For Nietzsche, independence is the way to become the Übermensch as well as the ultimate goal. However, before we dive deeper into this all-important value, we have to clarify the difference between independence and freedom. These two terms are often used interchangeably, and rightly so. If you look up both words in a dictionary, their meanings are very similar. Both of them are based on the absence of restraints, limitations, and dependencies. The German word for freedom is Freiheit, whereas independence is Unabhängigkeit. I know, you already forgot it. Never mind, let's keep moving forward. Although both words can be used to express the same value, in Nietzsche's interpretation there is a slight difference between them. Freedom is a finalized state of being, an aspect or form of our existence. It's rather a goal than a process. It's the sensation that we feel after we cut all ties and break all limitations we had. Independence, on the other hand, is more of a mindset thing. It's what gets us to freedom. It's a continuous process, a state of mind. To put it simply, you have to become mentally independent way before you become ultimately free. But as already pointed out, these are just little nuances in Nietzsche's interpretation and can be regarded as more or less the same thing. Let's leave these word games to our beloved linguistics and jump into what Nietzsche is all about.
Practicality.
Independence comes in many different shapes and forms. The following four are the ones that are closest to Nietzsche's philosophy and also most practical for our daily life. In today's video, we will cover the first two. Let's start with the first one, intellectual independence. Before we can start eliminating our dependency to anything external, we have to go into the opposite direction first. The first step of changing anything in our life is always inwards. The very first step in becoming an independent individual has to be geared towards our own mind. As already discussed in some of our previous videos, Nietzsche's philosophy is based on the concept of radical open-mindedness, an attitude towards life where nothing's ever granted. The basic premise of intellectual independence is that you never rely solely on outside sources like books, seminars, tools like ChatGPT and tips from other people, but always use your own brain first. Of course, you can use all the named options too, but rather as an extension of that miracle sitting between your ears. Your brain isn't a muscle, but it works on the same principle called use it or lose it. If you don't exercise your willpower on it, soon it starts to atrophy and so does your life. That's why the first step has to always be in words. Close your eyes and meditate a little bit. Change your environment and do a few sets of mental push-ups before you give your mind this technological cushion. Your hard work will be rewarded by a possibly better solution, as well as with the sense of pride that you stayed independent and actually succeeded on your own. Chapter 2: Materialistic Independence. This is the most often discussed type of independence. It's a topic that runs through the most popular ascetic philosophies like Buddhism, Hinduism, and Stoicism. It involves everything: money, clothes, cars, expensive gadgets, just literally anything. It's not so much about these things having no or little value. After all, having a nice house to live in or a car to drive seems pretty valuable to me, but about the reason we want these things. Do you want them for your own enjoyment or to impress others? To make this really simple, materialistic independence means that you can have things, but you don't tie to them your own self-worth, nor your confidence, nor your peace of mind. To test if you are actually independent in this regard, ask yourself things like: does a scratch on my new iPhone freak me out and make me have a shitty day or even a week? Suppose your dog destroyed a piece of furniture in your house. Do you discipline it with a mean look and raised voice, or do you lose control and fall into a merciless rage, ending up reorganizing its skeleton structure? One of the biggest benefits of materialistic independence is that it really puts your values in perspective. So, how do you achieve materialistic independence? Well, that's pretty easy. You just don't keep buying and hoarding things like an idiot. It's not always easy emotionally, but it's not rocket science as well. With a little bit of willpower, mostly everyone can do this. But why should you? Isn't that what a good life is all about? Well, think about this.
I see all this potential, and I see it squandered. God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
Fight Club is a first-class example book and movie that touches heavily on the art of materialistic independence. The true key to materialistic independence is to reverse what Tyler Durden just said in the Fight Club. You should stop buying shit you don't need in order to one day quit the job you hate and go do what you actually care about, not vice versa. In the end, buy whatever you want, but don't get overly attached to it, and always realize there is a hidden price to pay, usually your own freedom. Thank you so much for watching. In the next part, we are going to take a look on independence in regards to time and our existence as such. See you soon, fellow thinker.